Welcome to the Deep Dive. You're here because you want to get smart fast.
We take a whole lot of information, boil it down, and give you the insights that really matter.
Think of it as your shortcut to being in the know.
And today, we're setting our sights on a real jewel of the Mediterranean, Sardinia, Italy.
Ah, Sardinia, lovely.
Yeah, we sifted through some really fascinating material to put together what we think is, a pretty inspiring 20-day itinerary, especially if you're thinking about a first visit.
20 days. That's a proper exploration.
Exactly. The goal here is simple, really. We want to spark your wanderlust, give you a real feel for where to go, what to do, what you might experience.
And crucially, what to eat, I hope.
Oh, absolutely. We'll definitely get to the food. It's all about inspiring those travel dreams.
Okay, Sardinia. The name itself just sounds like sunshine and bitches, doesn't it? But diving in, what really struck me was the sheer variety. It's the second biggest island in the Med, right? But it's not just coast. You've got mountains, really unique traditions. It's quite a mix.
It really is. And the specifics are where it gets, truly fascinating. Think about this. Over 7,000 prehistoric archaeological sites.
7,000. That's staggering.
It is. We're not talking just a few stones here and there. This is a huge historical record. You've got the Nuraghi monuments, for instance.
Right, the Nuraghi. I've seen pictures, these sort of conical stone tower things.
Exactly like that. Unique Bronze Age structures dating back to maybe 1500 BCE. It's some of the oldest evidence of, complex civilization in Europe right there.
Wow. So beneath the beautiful beaches, there's this incredibly deep layer of history.
Absolutely. And speaking of beaches, the coastline itself.
Almost 1,850 kilometers. I read that somewhere. That's massive.
It is. It works out to nearly a quarter of Italy's entire coastline.
So you could literally find a different beach every single day for a very long time.
You probably could. And it's not just sandy stretches. You get dramatic cliffs, mountains plunging into the sea, then these perfect little coves. The variety is incredible.
Okay, and here's something else that caught my eye. The people there live incredibly long lives.
Ah, yes. The blue zone aspect. Sardinia has a remarkably high life expectancy, around 81 years on average.
And the highest rate of centenarians, people living past 100 anywhere in the world.
That's the claim. Particularly in certain inland areas. Scientists have been studying this for ages, looking at diet, lifestyle, genetics.
I remember reading about Antonio Todd, the first man documented to reach 110. He was Sardinian.
He was indeed. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is it the food, the pace of life?
Maybe those silent landscapes you mentioned. Apparently, most people live near the coast, leaving huge areas of the interior quite sparsely populated.
That definitely contributes to its unique feel, that sense of preserved culture. And the history isn't just prehistoric. You've got layers upon layers. Roman ruins, Phoenician settlements, more Bronze Age stuff, especially those Nuragic sites.
It really paints a picture of constant human presence, shaping the island over millennia. Oh, and the James Bond connection. I didn't know that.
Right. The Spy Who Loved Me, where the Lotus Esprit drives out of the water.
That exact scene, filmed on Spiaggia Capriccioli.
A little bit of movie glamour mixed in with all that ancient history.
And it even has its own language. Sardo.
Yes, Sardo is distinct from Italian. And then if you go to Alghero in the northwest...
You hear Catalan, like from Spain.
Yeah, a Catalan dialect. It's a remnant of its history under the Crown of Aragon. Really fascinating linguistic pocket.
A language within a language. That says a lot about its unique path. And the interior sounds almost mythical. This Codice Barbaricino, a bandit code.
Well, it reflects a history of remote communities needing their own systems, their own codes of honor and justice. It speaks to that independent spirit of the Barbagia region, the heartland.
And wild boar roam the forests there.
They do, and they're a huge part of the traditional cuisine, as you can imagine. We'll definitely touch on that. Oh, and there's that village, Villa Grans Trisili.
The one with the super high concentration of centenarians.
That's the one. It's like every corner has its own unique story.
It seems pretty accessible, too, despite being an island. 3 airports, 4 big ports.
Yeah, connections from mainland Italy, France, Spain are all pretty regular. Makes getting there fairly straightforward.
And crucially, for a road trip, no toll roads.
That's a big plus. It makes renting a car and just exploring much more appealing and, a bit easier on the wallet.
Really encourages you to just drive and see where you end up.
Exactly. Discover those little hidden spots. And then there's the food. Pain carissa. That super thin bread.
Right, the crispy one. Looks almost like parchment paper.
That's it. And then there's casu marzu.
Okay, let's just briefly acknowledge casu marzu.
Yeah.
The cheese with The live larva.
Traditional Sardinian sheep milk cheese. Definitely a unique taste experience.
Unique is one word for it. Maybe not top of everyone's must-try list, but it definitely shows how distinct the food traditions are.
It absolutely does. So you've got this amazing mix. Ancient sites, stunning nature, unique culture, incredible food. Shall we dive into how you might experience all this over 20 days?
Yes, let's do it. 20 days sounds like enough time to really get under the skin of the island rather than just rushing through.
That's the idea. A more immersive adventure.
Okay, let's start the virtual road trip. Day 1, we land presumably in Cagliari, the capital in the south, and we're spending about 4 days here.
That's the plan. Cagliari is a brilliant starting point. You've got Poeto Beach right there for some initial relaxation.
Always good after a flight.
Definitely. But the real heart is the Castello district. Up on the hill, it's this amazing maze of narrow, winding streets. You just have to wander.
And the views are meant to be spectacular.
Oh, incredible panoramic views. And key sites up there include the Bastione di San Remi, Great Viewpoint, the Old Towers, Torre di San Pancrazio and Torre dell'Elefante, and the Cattedrale di Santa Maria. Lots of history packed in.
Sounds like a photographer's dream. And museums for the history buffs.
Absolutely. The Museo Archeologico Nazionale is a must. It really gives you context for all those ancient sites across the island.
Okay, good place to start understanding the Norwegic culture and everything else.
Exactly. And there's the Roman amphitheaters, the Anfiteatro Romano, which is pretty impressive. And don't miss the Santa Restituta Crypt, very atmospheric underground site.
Crypts, towers, museums. Busy few days. And day trips from Cagliari.
Definitely. Nora is highly recommended. It's an archaeological site right on the coast, founded by Phoenicians, then became Roman. Really evocative ruins by the sea.
Phoenician and Roman. Wow.
And close by is the Bay of Chia, famous for its stunning beaches, so you can mix history and beach time easily.
Perfect combination. And what about Cabo Carbonara? I saw mentions of flamingos.
Yes. Towards the southeast tip from Cagliari, hike up to the Torre di Porto Giunco, the tower there. Again, amazing views.
Seems like good views are a theme in Sardinia.
They really are. And down below in the lagoon, Stagno Naturi, you often see flocks of pink flamingos. It's quite a sight.
Flamingos in Europe. Cool. And Spiaggia di Porto Giunco itself is a nice beach.
Gorgeous beach. White sand, clear water. And while you're down south, it's a good chance to try some local wines, maybe a Carignano Red or the Naragas White.
Good tip. Okay, so days 1 to 4 are packed. Then days 5 to 7, we head along the southwest coast towards Tolada.
That's right. The drive itself along that coast is stunning, really scenic.
So take your time with the drive.
Definitely. Pull over often. Make sure you visit Cala Cipolla. The water there is just crystal clear, unbelievable turquoise. Great for a swim.
So it's idyllic.
And nearby, you can do a relatively easy hike up to the Capo Spartivento Lighthouse. The panoramic views from there are just, wow. You see the whole sweep of the coast.
Another viewpoint. Excellent. And Tolada itself. Good place to stay.
It's a nice, quieter base for a couple of nights. There are some lovely B&Bs like Sutostainu, hotels like Jasmine, or you could try an agriturismo like Sarsola for a more rural feel.
Agriturismo. Like a farm stay.
Yeah, often with great local food. Tolada's coast is also really popular for boat trips. You can get to little coves and sea caves that are hard to reach otherwise.
Boat trips seem essential for seeing the best coastline. Okay, next leg. Days 8 to 10, heading northwest to Alghero. But maybe a stop on the way. Bosa.
Yes, definitely stop in Bosa. The drive from Tolada to Alghero takes a few hours, and Bosa is perfectly placed and just charming.
What's special about Bosa?
The colors. All the houses climbing up the hill towards the castle are painted in these really bright, vibrant colors. It's incredibly picturesque. Plus, the Malaspina castle looms over it all. Worth wandering around for an hour or two for sure.
Colorful houses and a castle. Sounds lovely. Then on to Alghero. This is the place with the Catalan connection.
That's the one. You can really feel it in the old town's architecture, maybe hear the dialect. The historic center itself is beautiful, enclosed by these old sea walls.
What are the must-sees in Alghero?
Well, wandering the old town, exploring the cathedral, checking out churches like St. Michael and St. Barbara. Alghero is also famous for its red coral.
Red coral jewelry.
Exactly. It's a local craft. There's even a coral museum you can visit. And take a walk along the Lungomare, the seafront promenade, down to Lido San Giovanni Beach.
And sunsets. I heard they're special there.
Oh, definitely. Watching the sunset from the Bastione, the old ramparts overlooking the sea. It's pretty magical. A classic Alghero experience.
Sounds perfect. What about outside the town? Neptune's Caves?
Absolutely essential. Grotta di Nettuno. Huge sea caves, really dramatic stalactites and stalagmites. You can get there by boat from the harbor.
Which sounds like a nice trip in itself.
It is. You see the cliffs from the water, or you can drive out to Capocaccia, this massive headland, and walk down the Escala del Cabirol, the goat staircase.
Goat staircase, how many steps?
Over 650 carved into the cliff face. The views are incredible, but it's a bit of a climb back up.
Okay, maybe the boat is easier. What else nearby?
Porto Conti Regional Natural Park is right there, great for walking, exploring different landscapes, and Portoferro Beach is lovely, quite wild, reddish sand.
And more ancient history. We haven't forgotten the Nuraga.
Nope. Nearby Alghero, you have Nuraga Palmavera, another significant site, and also the Necropoli di Angolo Ruju.
The Acropolis. Burial site.
Yeah, a really extensive prehistoric one with lots of domestianas.
Domestigianus.
Fairy houses. That's what the name means, literally. They're ancient tombs carved into the rock, looking like little houses. Really fascinating.
Fairy houses and goat staircases. Sardinia sounds quite enchanting. What about wine in this area?
Alghero has its own specialties. Look for Cagnolari, a local red wine, quite earthy, and Torbado, a crisp white wine that's pretty unique to the area.
Torbado, okay. Any vineyards to visit?
Selli in Mosca is one of the biggest and most famous wineries in Sardinia, located near Alghero. They do tours and tastings. They make great Cannonau, too, which is probably Sardinia's most famous red.
Good option. And don't forget the Bastioni, the seawalls.
Right. Make sure you walk along them in Alghero. Great views, lovely atmosphere, especially in the evening.
Okay, Alghero sounds packed. Then days 11 to 13, we're heading further north, a bit east, to the La Maddalena archipelago.
Yes. This is often a huge highlight for people. Pure, stunning natural beauty. You drive to Palau, which is the main town for ferry access.
And from Palau, it's all about boat trips.
Pretty much the best way to see it. Take a boat tour of the La Maddalena Archipelago National Park. It covers several islands: Budelli, Sottomaria, Spargi, Rizzoli.
Budelli. Isn't that the one with the famous pink beach?
It is Spiaggia Rosa, though you can't actually walk on the pink sand anymore to protect it. But you see it from the boat, and the surrounding waters are incredible. You'll stop at amazing coasts for swimming and snorkeling. The watercolor is just unreal.
Sounds like paradise. Anything else near Palau?
Definitely check out Capo Testa near Santa Teresa di Gallura. It's this amazing peninsula with giant granite rocks eroded by wind and sea into fantastical shapes. Great for hiking and scrambling around.
Granite sculptures by nature. Cool.
Yeah, and the views across the Strait of Bonifacio to Corsica are stunning from up there. Also, for history and views, visit La Fortezza di Monte Altura. It's an old military fort overlooking the strait.
Views again. And wine in this region. Gallura.
This is prime Vermentino territory. Vermentino di Gallura DOCG is considered one of Italy's best white wines. Crisp, aromatic, perfect with seafood. Definitely seek it out.
Vermentino. Got it. Okay, after island hopping, days 14 to 17 take us down the east coast to the Gulf of Orsay and Calaganone.
Exactly. Calaganone is the main hub for exploring this stretch of coast, which is famous for, well, more spectacular beaches and dramatic cliffs.
And hiking. I read about a canyon.
Yes, the Gola su Goropu. It's often called Europe's deepest canyon. You can hike into it. There are different routes depending on how adventurous you are. It's seriously impressive. Huge limestone walls.
Wow. Okay, maybe for the serious hikers.
Yeah.
But the beaches, accessible by boat again.
Mostly, yes. A boat trip along the Gulf of Orsay is an absolute must-do from Calaganone. This is where you find those legendary beaches you see in photos.
Like Calaluna, Calamariolo.
Exactly. Calaluna Talasasine, Calabiriola, Calamariolo Calagabbiani, and the iconic Cala Golorizze.
Golorizze has that amazing rock spire. Right?
That's the one. A natural limestone arch and a tall pinnacle. It's a UNESCO site. Many of these beaches are only reachable by boat or quite tough hiking trails, which keeps them pristine and incredibly beautiful.
Sounds like another day of unbelievable scenery. And this area is also a gateway to the interior, the Barbegia region.
It is. While you're based in Calaganone, you could take a day trip inland to explore Barbegia. This is really the heartland of traditional Sardinia.
Where Sardo is spoken more.
Yes, you're more likely to hear Sardo used day to day. It's where many traditional festivals originate, like the famous carnival celebrations in Mamoiata with the Mammothones and Isoador's masks.
Right, those striking black masks and sheepskins.
If you happen to be there during Carnival, it's an unforgettable, almost primal experience. But even outside festival time, Barbegia offers a glimpse into a very different, more traditional side of Sardinia. Many unique food traditions come from here, too.
Fascinating contrast to the coast. So for the last few days, 18 and 19, we're driving south along the east coast.
Yeah, a scenic drive down the SS-125 road, which largely follows the coast. It offers beautiful views pretty much the whole way.
Any recommended stops?
You could stop in Arbatax to see the Ros Ross, these striking red porphyry rocks right by the port, quite unusual, and the nearby San Gimignano Tower.
Red Rocks. Sounds dramatic.
It is, and really just enjoy the drive. There are countless other beaches and little towns along this stretch where you can pause, have lunch, take a dip. It's less famous than the Orsay Gulf, but still beautiful.
And a wine recommendation for this coast?
Monica is a red wine often found here. It's usually quite soft and fruity, pairs nicely with seafood even, or lighter meat dishes.
Monica. Okay, then day 20 is essentially departure day.
Right. Depending on where you're flying from or catching a ferry, you'll either head back down to Cagliari or maybe depart from Olbia in the northeast, or even Arbatax or Porto Torres if that suits your plans. Gives you options.
20 days, coast to coast, history, nature. What an incredible founding trip. But we need to talk more about the food.
Yes. The fuel for the adventure. Sardinian cuisine is really distinct. We mentioned pain carousel, that super thin, crispy bread. You'll find it everywhere.
Almost like a cracker, but huge.
Sort of, yeah. Great on its own, or with cheese, or softened in broth. Then we touched on casu marzu, the cheese with the extra protein.
We did. An acquired taste, perhaps? What about something more universally loved, like that roasted pig?
Poor OG. Slow roasted suckling pig. It's a real celebration dish, especially inland. Incredibly tender meat, super crispy crackling skin. It's a must-try if you eat pork.
Sounds amazing. Wild boar, too, in the interior.
Definitely features on menus, often in rich stews or pasta sauces, given all that coastline, though.
Seafood must be incredible.
Oh, absolutely. Super fresh fish and shellfish, often prepared very simply grilled, baked with herbs, maybe in a light tomato sauce. Fregola pasta with clams is a classic.
Fregola, those little toasted pasta balls.
That's the one. Delicious. And handmade pasta in general is a big deal. Look for culurdionas, sort of like ravioli, often filled with potato and mint, and of course, gelato.
Can't go to Italy without gelato.
Exactly. Always a good idea. Often very good quality using local ingredients.
And the wines. We mentioned a few, but maybe a quick recap.
Yeah.
Key ones to look for.
Sure. So Vermentino, especially Vermentino di Galuda up north, is the star, white, crisp, aromatic, great with seafood.
Okay, Vermentino for white.
Cannonau is the main red grape, found everywhere, but especially central southern areas. It can be quite robust, powerful, great with roasted meats like porcedu.
Cannonau for red meat.
Then you have Monica, often a bit softer, fruitier red, good all-rounder. Carignano is another important red, particularly in the southwest. And Cagnolari and Torbado around Alghero.
Lots to explore. Visiting a vineyard sounds like a good idea, too.
Definitely. Many offer tastings, a great way to learn more. Or just ask for local recommendations in restaurants. Don't be afraid to try something unfamiliar.
Excellent advice. Okay, so beyond the itinerary and food, any final practical tips for first-timers? Best time to go?
Spring, so March to May, and autumn, September to November, are often recommended. The weather is generally pleasant, good for sightseeing and hiking, and it's less crowded than summer.
But summer's best for serious beach time.
Yes, if swimming and sunbathing are top priorities, June to August is warmest. But July and August get very busy and hot and prices go up. So trade-off.
Shoulder season sounds like a good bet then. Getting around? Car is essential.
Highly recommended for flexibility, yes. Especially for exploring the interior or reaching more remote beaches. And remember, no toll roads.
Big plus. And ferries connect it well.
Yeah, ferries from mainland Italy, France, Spain, Corsica, Sicily arrive at various ports like Olbia, Porto Torres, Cagliari, Golfo Aranci, Arbatax, so you can integrate it into a larger European trip.
Good point. What about places to stay? Variety.
Huge variety. Hotels, resorts, lots of lovely B&Bs, and definitely look into agriturismi, the farm stays. They offer a really authentic experience, often with amazing food.
And booking ahead is wise, especially in summer.
Absolutely crucial in July and August. Recommended for shoulder seasons too, especially for popular spots or specific places you want to stay. Use sites like booking.com or Hostel World to research, but maybe book directly too.
And expect a friendly welcome.
Generally, yes. Sardinians are known for their hospitality, especially in smaller places or family-run businesses. It adds to the charm.
Last thing, language. Italian mostly, but Sardo.
Italian is widely understood, especially in tourist areas. Learning a few basic Italian phrases, hello please, thank you, is always appreciated. You might hear Sardo, especially inland, and Catalan in Alghero, but you'll manage fine with Italian.
Okay, great practical tips. So, wrapping up this deep dive, 20 days in Sardinia, it really sounds like an incredible journey.
It truly does. The island offers such a richness, from millennia of history to just breathtaking natural beauty, a really unique culture, fantastic food and wine. It's more than just a beach holiday.
Way more. It feels like 20 days gives you the chance to actually connect with it, not just skim the surface.
Exactly. Enough time to explore different regions, soak it in, and really be inspired.
So, for everyone listening, maybe dreaming of that first Sardinian trip, we hope this deep dive has given you plenty of ideas and, well, fueled that wanderlust.
Yeah, hopefully you're already picturing yourself on those beaches or exploring those ancient sites. Maybe delve deeper into the areas that really sparked your interest today.
And perhaps a final thought to leave you with.
Consider this. Sardinia has this incredibly ancient soul, stunning, raw nature, and a culture that's fiercely its own. With all that depth, what untold Sardinian story will you end up discovering?
What part of this journey resonates most with your own sense of adventure and discovery? Something to think about.